Welcome to the Board of Directors agenda meeting for March 26, 2019. This is our opportunity to review the agenda for our former board meeting that will be held on April the 2nd, 2019. This evening we have a few presentations. We have presentations for Ray Jean Montague Day Proclamation. Actually, I have that before us right now. In the essence of time, I'll try to my best to expedite, but we have this proclamation for the city of Little Rock. Whereas Ray Jean Jordan Montague was born in Little Rock, graduated from high school in Pine Bluff, and graduated from college at what is now the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. And whereas inspired by a childhood visit to a submarine, she dreamed of becoming an engineer and was hired by the U.S. Navy as a clerk typist shortly after graduating college. She overcame limitations placed on her due to her race and gender, and not only taught herself to operate a computer, but was soon training others. And Dr. Montague used her computer and engineering skills to deliver the design of the USS Oliver Hazard Perry FFG-7 as the first ever computer-generated rough draft of a Navy warship, which took her 18 hours and 26 minutes as opposed to the 2 years it took to draft the design by hand. And in her career, Dr. Montague designed the first landing craft helicopter assault ship, a guided missile destroyer, an aircraft carrier, and the vehicle that first ignited her engineering dream, a submarine. And Dr. Montague became an internationally registered professional engineer and was the Navy's first female program manager of ships, making her at one time the highest ranking African-American woman in the department. And Dr. Montague received the U.S. Navy's Meritorious Civilian Service Award, was inducted into the Arkansas Black Hall of Fame, Arkansas Women's Hall of Fame, Arkansas Academy of Computing, received an honorary degree from UAPB, was honored on an episode of Good Morning America as a hidden figure, and posthumously received the Fryborough Award from the UA Little Rock and the Little Rock Water Reclamation Authority in celebrating diversity in STEM fields during March, which is also Women's History Month, and wishes for Dr. Montague to be recognized for being a STEM trailblazer. I, Frank Scott Jr., Mayor of the City of Little Rock, Arkansas, do hereby proclaim Thursday, March 28, 2019 as Dr. Ray Jean Jordan Montague Day in the City of Little Rock, and call upon all the citizens to join in expressing appreciation for Dr. Montague's contributions to science, engineering, and her fellow Little Rock residents, especially as a mentor to younger generations. Thank you so much. This is Dr. Ray Jean Montague. Many of you know her as our own Arkansas Zone hidden treasure. Dr. Montague is Dr. Montague's son. He's also a professor at the University of Arkansas in Little Rock in the Chromology Department, and also is leading up the UA Little Rock's online system as well. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
And we're her surrogate family, and I'm with her sorority sister, Betty.
She's also, Dr. Montague is also a sorority sister. She is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. She's also a member of the Lynx. And so we definitely know her roots in our state, and we're so glad to have our own hidden figure right here in Arkansas. And she's always preceded herself nationally and internationally, and has brought forth great roots as well, Dr. Montague and others. So today is Dr. Montague.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, Mayor, did you want to take a picture?
Yes. I always want to take a picture.
Thank you all again.
Thank you. Well, the great thing about the city of Little Rock, we continue to have great student athletes in the fields of not only basketball, football, and baseball, but as well as swimming. And so what we want to recognize is our 5A boys swimming state champions, which are the Little Rock Christian Academy, as well as our 6A boys swimming state champions, which is Little Rock Central High. If they would, please approach the podium. We'll start first with Christian Academy. Let's all give them a round of applause. Since Little Rock Christian Academy resides in Director Hines' ward, we'll allow him to begin to cheer his team on. But you have multiple teams, right, in your ward?
Oh yeah.
Okay, we'll make sure.
Yeah. We've got multiple schools, so we've just been very fortunate at my daughter's alma mater, who's graduating this year, and she's also captain of the ladies swim team. So I know most of these young men. I've been around them a lot over the last 4 years. So it's with great pride that we saw they won the state championship. So I'll go through my little reading here. On Saturday, February, and thank you, Mayor and Vice Mayor and members of the board. On Saturday, February 23rd, 2019, the Little Rock Christian Warrior boys swim team won the 5A state championship. This is their first state championship in this sport. Little Rock Christian took first place with 248 points, 34 points more than the second place team. The team broke a state record and received 28 medals, including 2 gold relay medals and 2 individual gold medals. While we are presenting a plaque to the boys team for their state championship, the girls team also broke school records at the meet and took home several medals as well. And essentially in swimming, that they recognize state champions as a team sport, but if you get a gold medal, that's like winning the state championship in the individual events. So that's saying something that they were able to accomplish that. The team is coached by Coach Brian Gibson. Dr. Gary Arnold is head of school. Dr. Justin Smith is the upper school principal, and Johnny Watson is the athletic director. Coach Gibson, if you come up, I got a plaque to present to you, and then we'll let the boys introduce themselves, and if they're seniors and know where they're going to college, they can tell us that too. Mayor Frank D. Scott, the City Board of Directors, and City Manager Bruce T. Moore congratulate the Little Rock Christian Academy Warriors 2019 Boys Swimming 5A State Champions. In the quest for the championship, the players and coaches exemplified outstanding sportsmanship, participation, leadership, responsibility, and teamwork. Dated to date, March 26, 2019. Congratulations, Coach. I'll let you say a few words. And we also know that these accomplishments do not happen without the support of parents, teachers, coaches, and administrators. And if we have any of those parents or administrators with us today, would you guys please stand and be recognized as well? Go ahead, Coach.
First of all, thank you all for inviting us here. It's an honor. I've known Mr. Hines for 4 years now, and he said his daughter is a captain on our team, and it's 4 years ago, Coach Watson, our athletic director, came to me to rebuild the swim team. We went without for 2 seasons. And the first year we started, we had only 7 swimmers, boys and girls combined, that completed the season. And Mr. Hines' daughter was one of those girls, and it was her and every young man and woman here that really built this team to what it is now, to where we have 33 swimmers on our active roster. And it's their effort, not only in the pool, but the classroom and the hallways, getting their friends out and joining us, that really has built this to what it is. So, I thank you guys for your effort and everything you've done for us. It's our first state championship in swimming to bring home to Little Rock Christian Academy, and we love bringing the state championship back home to the city of Little Rock. And thank you all for serving us. It's a blessing and pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Parker Moore. I'm a senior at Little Rock Christian Academy, and I will be attending University of Tulsa in the fall.
Hello, my name is Jake McDonald. I'm a senior at Little Rock Christian Academy, and I'll be attending the University of Arkansas next fall.
My name is McLean Leach. I'm a senior at Little Rock Christian Academy, and I'll be going to the University of Arkansas in the fall.
I'm Austin Corcoran. I'm a senior, and I'll be attending Baylor University.
My name is Matthew Ware. I'm a senior at Little Rock Christian Academy, and I'm still deciding between the University of Mississippi and the University of Alabama next year.
My name is Kyle Lee, and I'll be attending UCA this fall.
Hello, I'm John Isaac Majors, and I'm a freshman at Little Rock Christian.
I'm Jordan Jones, and I'm a junior at Little Rock Christian.
I'm Aiden Ross, and I'm a sophomore at Little Rock Christian.
Get a picture up there.
I'll now ask the Little Rock Central High boys swim team to please approach the podium as well, as they are the 6A state champions. Let's give them a round of applause. And for you guys, you have one of your famous alumni who's also in the room, and that's Mr. Darren Williams. I know he's proud to see you guys today as well. I don't think he was a swimmer, though. One of the things we want to recognize with the Little Rock Central High Tigers, the significance of their championship wins. They had a 50-year gap. So the last time that they won the state swimming championship was in 1958, and then from that gap between 1958 and 2018, they won in 2018, and also have now won again in 2019 for a repeat. And so we're expecting big things with Little Rock Central High to continue on that trend that they've had historically as swimmers as we move forward. And also, while we are presenting this plaque to the boys team for their state championship, the girls team also took home several medals as well, and we want to recognize them. Their coach, Coach Mary Jo High and Dr. Beth Maris, are here with us today as well. And I think you cannot say the word Little Rock Central High without recognizing Miss Nancy Russo. If you would, please stand up, Miss Russo. And we do know that Superintendent Mike Poore is very proud of what's going on in our district as it relates to our student athletes with the Director of Athletics, John Daniels. Is John here as well? I did not see John, but I know he's very proud. So what I'll do is come down, I will then share this plaque. Also, I'll be standing instead for Director Hendricks. She represents this ward where Little Rock Central High is located. And I know she is very proud for these young men to represent Little Rock Central High and represent her ward. Have the team captain?
We have two of us.
Oh, two captains, great. I've Mayor Frank D. Scott Jr., the City Board of Directors, and City Manager Bruce T. Moore congratulate the Little Rock Central High School 6A boys swimming state champions. In the quest for the championship, the players and the coaches exemplified outstanding sportsmanship, participation, leadership, responsibility, and teamwork. We recognize you and congratulate you on this day, March 26, 2019. Congratulations. Then we'll have everyone say their name, grade, college name.
First of all, thank you, Honorable Frank Scott and the Board of Directors. We so appreciate you guys recognizing the work that these kids have done this year. They are outstanding student athletes. Our girls team average GPA is a 3.78 with 41 AP classes amongst them. These boys, 3.61 with 51 AP classes. Some coaches have to worry about minimum GPAs to participate. With the swim team, you never have to worry about that. These kids not only spent countless hours training in the water, typically about 20 hours a week, but also clearly studying. They also volunteer in the community, participate in other activities like newspaper, yearbook, etc. We have 5 seniors this year that have signed letters of intent. We have Andre Chu that will be swimming at Henderson State University, Anna Jaworski, University of West Florida, Vincent Jaworski at Lindenwood University, Greer Johnson, the Air Force Academy, Carson Traylor, Delta State University. All of these students, with the exception of Greer, due to the fact that she will be at the Air Force Academy swimming, are receiving both large academic and athletic scholarships. So to brag about these boys, we have to accomplish winning state walking in a hole because we don't have any male divers. Northwest Arkansas is dominated, the diving events because they have training facilities that no one else in the state really has. So these kids last year really flew under the radar. We knew what we could do, but Bentonville and Conway were too busy looking at each other. And so all season I would tell the boys, let's keep it that way. Don't say anything, and we're going to shock everybody at state. And boy, did we. This year, there was no surprising anyone. They were coming in as the team to beat. And despite the fact that all eyes were on Central when they walked into the pool area, these boys rose to the occasion and then some. And they won by even a larger margin than they had the year before. So it was 524 to 486, excuse me. And that was starting off with a 52-point deficit, I might add. So that will tell you just how impressive it is. One of the things that I am most proud of, though, is the way that these boys always conduct themselves. They handle themselves with such class and sportsmanship. They really represent your city well. And I've had coaches from several of the other communities, such as Cabot, for example, that have come to me and said, our kids say, I wish we could be like Central, like those Central kids. They are always courteous. They are enthusiastic. They lift each other up. They are motivated. They are just outstanding individuals and a great representation of this city. And I just also want to thank our esteemed leader, Miss Russo. Because of the kind of quality school she runs, she attracts quality kids like these. So heads up to public schools and Miss Russo.
Hi, my name is Carson Traylor. I'm a senior at Little Rock Central High, and I will be attending Delta State in the fall. I plan on majoring in chemical engineering or a pre-med.
Hi, my name is Vincent Jaworski. I will be swimming at Lindenwood University in the fall, and I'm a senior.
My name is John Payton. I am a senior at Little Rock Central. I will be attending Ouachita Baptist University. I will not be swimming. I will be majoring in biomedical sciences and minoring in chemistry.
My name is Nicholas High, and I'm a junior at Central High.
My name is Nathan Bright, and I'm a junior at Central High.
My name is David Reynolds, and I'm a junior at Central High.
My name is Christopher Tsai, and I'm a junior at Central High.
My name is Logan Wilson, and I'm a sophomore at Central High.
My name is Yusuf Baggett, and I'm a freshman at Central High.
My name is Cole McCullum, and I'm in my freshman year at Central.
My name is Joel Chung, and I'm a freshman at Central High School.
My name is Jack Forrest, and I'm a freshman.
I would like to ask the Directors Hines and Directors Richardson would please come down. They both are Central High alums. And Director.
I started but moved.
What?
I still claim
You stayed. All right. Well, I just want to make sure that I recognize that you did go to Central High. He was smart enough to stay. And Director Adcock. Hey. Oh, really? Okay. Director Richardson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Before you guys get out of here, I normally, well, they're already gone, I guess, but I say this to my colleagues and everyone else who's still here, and I hope I don't sound like Jack when I speak. Mayor, you and the coach both took my speaking points, with the exception of Central High is that's my alma mater. It's the best high school in the state, in the country, in the world. It's one of my favorite principals here. And I think the coach also hit on something that I'm always proud of, to see Central High down here represented not only athletically, but academically. I think she made reference to the 3.78 GPA of the young ladies, the 3.61 GPA of the young men, and we typically see them here, Mayor, when we have representations or presentations for academic excellence as well. So I want to thank you guys for acknowledging that and recognizing that Darren didn't swim, but he did play football with me. Well, he watched me play football when he was there. I just want to thank you guys for acknowledging it. And Ms. Russo, thank you for always being here. And
your wonderful sister, whom I taught, was at school today volunteering in the office.
all works well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Director Richardson. We'll now have Brent Birch, who is the Chief Executive Officer for the Little Rock Tech Park, to conduct a presentation.
Yeah, it's a little different with the room empty now. I guess we're not as interesting as state swim titles, but do appreciate the mayor, vice mayor, and the board having us come update you on what we believe, and I think the evidence that will be presented in this presentation backs up this is one of the better things going on in the city of Little Rock, which maybe wasn't always that way. Most of you sitting on the board have been in this position for a long time, through some of the trials and tribulations that the Tech Park has gone through, and now that we're 2 years into it, we've got a pretty good story to tell, which I'll share with you today. But we were charged with the responsibility of creating an innovation center for budding entrepreneurs, tech companies of all shapes and sizes to have a place to call home. And if you've had the good fortune of being able to spend any time within the facility on Main Street, you would know that to be true. It has a special level of energy that you just don't see a lot in downtown Little Rock, which happens as soon as you hit the door. With the coffee shop in our lobby that is a constant buzz of activity, up to the coming and going of and the energy of the tenants we have in the building, plus the use of the facility by those that are not tenants. It's truly become a home for the technology industry in our Central Arkansas area. I want to spend a little second, of course, maybe sharing some insight into what allowed this to become the success that it is. Part of it is sitting in this room between the Little Rock Technology Park Board, which many of the members are here, as well as you on the city board, the mayor's office, the city manager. Those were a lot of trying times trying to get this project off the ground, and we appreciate your trust in us to accomplish those goals and bring us to the point we are today. That went through the General Assembly to create the Research Park Authority Act that able to kick this off. We went through 2 governors that supported the project, from Beebe to Hutchinson. Warren Stevens deserves some credit for his working with us on the properties we purchased. Whether you know it or not, the properties were purchased at about a 3-5-year-old appraisal when Main Street, there wasn't just a whole lot going on. And he honored the appraisal that was pretty dated by the time the project actually got the funding to go forward, and allowed us to buy a nice chunk of property in that 400 block of Main Street at a price that was heavily discounted. And then, of course, the citizens of Little Rock supporting the tax that got us here, them backing that and get us the $20 to $22 million that allowed this project to get off the ground. That was big. And then, of course, the tech community. We've been supported not only, like I mentioned, not only by the tenant base, but we've got interactivity going to Conway, even some to Northwest Arkansas, and then all the surrounding tech community in North Little Rock, Bryant, Benton. Lots of interactivity that used to happen in silos all over town have now kind of all conglomerated into our 417 Main Street facility. I do want to mention the board, most of which are here. Like I mentioned, John Burgess and Dr. Nancy Gray weren't able to be here today. But, of course, Dixon's here, Kevin, Darren, CJ, and then Jay Cheshire is also here today as a way of support, not only me, which I appreciate, but also to convey that the importance of this project for that to be on their plate as they have plenty of things going on as well. But their leadership has been invaluable as far as guiding us to this point, not only from the selection of properties, the financial stability of what we're doing. They deserve a lot of credit for guiding where the tech park is today. Now here's the exciting stuff. When we moved in this property 2 years ago, we moved in March 2017. We moved in with 12 companies, most of which came from the facility we had on Markham across from the State House. That was our temporary home while these 2 buildings were under construction. Now we're up to 52 companies. So in 2 years, we've added a significant amount of entities operating in there. And those range from companies as big as Ritter Communications out of Jonesboro, that's headquartered there, big telecommunications company that has all of the cable TV, internet, phone service in Northeast Arkansas. Their Little Rock office, as they expand their footprint, is in the tech park. So they're one of our key tenants. So that's a huge company, all the way down to a young man that's trying to figure out if he's got an idea that's going to generate any revenue and any customers, and a lot of things in between. We've had some great success stories operate out of there, and with a great variance in our tenant base. We have a company like Bond.ai that I'll mention again in a minute, that's doing artificial intelligence learning, helping people realize their financial goals and allowing banks to communicate with those consumers all through an Alexa device. And he's getting appeal across the country, probably even worldwide. I only know about the people in the country that come to Little Rock to visit, to meet with him. Pretty remarkable. We have a company in there, MobX. They're a development team. They do work for ESPN directly. They build the apps for any of you ESPN's fantasy sports apps that are on a phone. That happens out of the tech park. Pretty remarkable. We've got a company, Spectron Systems, that's actually headquartered in Jonesboro, but their main portion of their team is in Little Rock. They do machine learning and artificial intelligence in the drug discovery phase, which if they are able to accomplish what they are setting their sights on, they're going to cut down the 8 to 10 year drug discovery phase to 3 to 5 years and save drugs from having to be tested on animals, people, all of that. They do it all through piles and piles of data. So some really smart people sit just outside my office because they're on the first floor where I am, doing some pretty incredible things. And then we've got some education components. The School for Math and Sciences in Hot Springs has a Little Rock office, as well as Noble Impact, who works with all the public schools in the state on entrepreneurship and public service. So that brings a lot of students into the facility as well, which is a big step for us. I'm going to talk about some diversity numbers that we have within the building, because this was an initiative of our board, as well as some of the leadership with the city as we got this going. We currently have 13 minority and women-owned businesses operating within the tech park. Our tenant base has 24% women working in it and 14.4% minority. And then we have in the Black Hispanic category 6.7%, which you may think that's really not that much. But in comparison, I read a recent article out of the Silicon Valley that Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram only have 5% of their workforce is Black or Hispanic. So we're trending above that. The Silicon Valley as a whole is only between 3 and 6%. So we're trending upward in that, and I think we've got an opportunity to continue to grow that as well. There's becoming more and more of interest, and that doesn't even count the numbers that the Venture Center brings in through their membership. They're not tenants of the tech park, but they are in the facility pretty much on a regular basis. So those numbers aren't even included in there. So we're making some headways to be more diverse with the tech industry, which has long been dominated, in some categories that we'd like to see some shift. So we feel proud about where we are and where we're headed in those categories. Regarding our factors of success, we've created a space that generates innovation. If you haven't had the opportunity to come in there, you should see it, because it's not like any other office building in downtown. Not only from the brightness level that sparks innovation, but it's the way we almost force the tenants in there to collaborate and communicate. You don't walk in the door and immediately greeted by a security guard. It's a free-flowing, really transitional office that allows people to have what Jay likes to call creative collisions, and they happen. I see them happen all the time, which is obviously inspiring to the tenants themselves, and also people that get introduced to the space. Another success point for us is the ability for the companies to shrink and grow as they need to. Almost all the space in there is month to month. And that allows them to shrink and grow as they need to. Not all of them make it. Some of them hit hard times, their idea doesn't take off, and they need to be able to vacate the space without being connected into a long-term lease. We've seen that happen, especially early when we first opened. But now we've reached a point where we feel we've got a real stable base of tenants that we've seen. Most of them that are in there have been in there either since we started or within the first 6 months since we started. So a lot of stability despite being a month to month. We see more of them move within the building than we see leave. As they grow, they can move into a bigger suite, and we keep creating more space to accommodate that within the building that we have. And of course, the location. We've made a crucial decision on having this downtown, and it's led to the success of where we are. This is where this type of workforce wants to be. And it's created a big shift in the dynamic of Main Street. With everything going on between the restaurants, the hotels being built, that's an energy level that was having a hard time getting going, and I think we were a portion of contributing to that. Of course, the restaurateurs and hotels and other things going on in that area have contributed to that as well, but I think we're a key player in that. And then I definitely wanted to single out the Venture Center, which Wayne Miller and Dr. James Hendren are here today. They're a tenant. They leased the entire 6th floor, which was a big deal for us. That floor sat empty until they took it about six months or so ago. And now they're able to operate better out of that space, running their accelerators and running their programs with a full floor to work with. But they provide a key piece for what we're doing, because we want this to be more than just office space. This needs to be a facility where people don't come and just sit and bang away at their computer all day. And that's a key piece that the Venture Center provides, and it's only gotten better as Wayne has come in and formulated some strategies to improve that interactivity within the tech community. So I'm very, very appreciative of their partnership, not only as a tenant but as a partner in what we're doing. I told him I appreciate him coming today. I carved some time out because they're in the middle of running one of their accelerators. And if you're not familiar with what those are, they bring 10 teams in from all over the country or the world, come to Little Rock for a 3-month window to flush all their run their business kind of through the gamut to come out better on the other end. And they have a demo day tomorrow for their Community Bank Association demo day that they just did in, what city was it in? Nashville. They just went to Nashville, and now they brought them back to Little Rock, and they're going to conclude that with a demo day tomorrow, actually going to host it at the Innovation Hub in North Little Rock. And that's a big deal. This is separate from the FIS accelerator that you probably heard more about and has gained more news. This is the first year of doing the ICBA version. But this has led, their efforts have led to from an economic development standpoint, a recruitment effort to bring some companies to Little Rock that previously weren't here. And I've highlighted some of those on the presentation with Bond AI and Agora Services coming out of New York. Gas POS, even though they are headquartered in North Little Rock, they generated quite a bit of news when they moved here. We didn't have the space for them. They were too big as they moved into town to be in the current phase of the tech park. But they moved here from Birmingham. Lumo Exchange is one of our success stories. It's been there since we started, from Atlanta. Lexaline's from Austin. And then PFitter, which didn't end up surviving the process, they did move their business here from St. Louis. So we've been able to collect some people here. If we can get them to Little Rock, they're blown away that Little Rock is as nice as it is. It's as functional as it is as far as who they can contact. I've heard more than one person reference the 2 phone call state. I may not have the governor's phone number in my phone, but I know one person that could get me directly to him. And part of that's accessibility to decision makers from a venture capital standpoint as well. So that's been a big lure for these folks to move their companies here or have a presence here. And that'll only continue to grow as they go through more of these accelerators and bring in more of these teams into Little Rock to be exposed to all the good things we have to offer. A couple quick highlights of milestones, most of which you can read. I think the key ones are, of course, I already mentioned leasing the 6th floor to the Venture Center. That was big to secure a long-term relationship with them to provide that piece. This past late fall, we hit 100% occupancy, meaning every office that we had within the Little Rock Tech Park was taken. And we're not at that point now. We have two offices available at this moment, but I bet they don't see April based on the interest level. So we'll be back at that full capacity again. So that's exciting to know that even if a company does roll out of there, either they get too big, their cash reserves dribble up where they can't afford that, we can quickly replace that. We've gone through the design and budgeting phase with WER and CDI on phase 2, the building that we've targeted to go between Channel 7 and the current Tech Park phase. And then a big piece for us was retiring one of the loans with the bank group that we borrowed to pull off phase 1. We've paid off a $5.8 million loan with the disbursements that come from the sales tax, and then some of our rent income from the building we leased to the state. And now we'll start chipping away at the tax-exempt loan that is out there. And then we're going to start the fundraising efforts to get the capital to build that phase 2 building, which I'll wrap up the presentation speaking of that. The phase 2 is going to be that's going to be a true game changer for downtown, especially Main Street. New construction on Main Street doesn't happen every day, and we're going to be pushing forward that initiative to get that done. One, for a big reason, as I've told you, we're out of space, and that's a thing that we don't want to lose momentum from what we've done by having to turn people away. We're working on some initiatives within the downtown area to maybe park some of those companies for a little bit while this gets going. But we went through the design phase, like I said, with WER. We've got an effort to keep this between a historic-looking building that matches the streetscape with a touch of tech that fits what's in there. So it's a really interesting design. They've done a great job, and CDI, also based here in Little Rock, has done a very good job advising us on where we should go. It'll have the capability to have wet and dry lab space. There'll be restaurant retail space on the first floor, which complements that building much like we did with the coffee shop in the current phase. And then most of it will build as shell space, allowing a bigger company, a more flagship name on the building type operation to come in and lay out a floor like they want to. So this is a natural trend for the companies in phase 1. As they grow, we would want them to move into that phase 2 building. And this is the most important part of the whole deal is where this group here can help us. We've got to work hand in hand to transform Little Rock into the next great southern city. Some competitors of ours, from a size-wise, Chattanooga is down the road and ahead of us, and there's some others in that same category. We want to be able to be mentioned in that same breath, and that's going to require all of us. Almost everybody I've mentioned in this presentation has a hand in that. We need you as board members to be active in your wards about telling your people in your area about this project. And this is not just a downtown thing. This is across Little Rock. We have tenants that live in all parts of Little Rock, and people that interact in that building truly from all parts of Little Rock. So the more you can get out and talk about this project and educate the public that it is not this inclusive little private club. It is a very open and engaging environment for people to be a part of. And then, of course, the ease of doing business here, the best we can do on that, making it easy for these entrepreneurs and these startups and these companies that want to move here, allowing them an ease of red tape and all of those things to make it easy to do business here in Little Rock is key. And then probably the biggest piece is helping us as we go through this fundraising initiative to fund the phase 2, is how we can be creative and handle the financing of this next phase, because that's going to be a key piece and a high priority for us, because as I mentioned, we do not want to lose the momentum of what we've done for phase 1 by dragging out the ability to get the first shovel turn on phase 2, so we know where we can send people as these companies grow within the city. But that concludes my presentation. Once again, appreciate the opportunity to get in front of you all. I'll be glad to answer any questions if there are any.
Director Compures.
Brent, I appreciate what you said. Really no questions. I just got a comment. Like most things in Little Rock, this is a 2-year miracle. It just all of a sudden happened, and there have been lots of players that have made this happen. And Jim Hendren has done a great job with the Venture Center for a long time, and the FinTech and bringing that in for 1 year and now having for 3 years, 4 years, is a huge thing that adds to Little Rock. The concept was really shouldered and brought forward by one person and his sidekick, and that's Dixon Flake and his sidekick, Jay Cheshire. And there may have been 2 governors that we went through to get here, but I bet you I went through 1,000 meetings to get here with Dixon and talking about why this was important, getting a law change to get it done, to getting people to support it, to get it to be part of the tax, to get it to be part of the tax that it was. And the hours that those 2 have put into getting this done are incalculable. And their gift to this community is incalculable. And I know that we all look upon this as a wonderful, very quick success, but if it hadn't been mainly for those 2 people bringing 2 people together to get this done, we would not have this, and we wouldn't have the opportunity of saying that we want to compete with Nashville or Chattanooga or any other place. So thank you to all the people involved, the president and board, but mainly Dixon and Jay for all they did.
Director Hines.
Brent, thanks for the update. And I'd like to reiterate what Dean said. This had some vision from a lot of leaders in our community, and I appreciate you guys sticking with it and holding our feet to the fire and getting behind it, because I think we were all looking for who's going to be the next Systematics, who's going to be the next Alltel, who's going to be the next big corporation coming in? And I think we may be able to put ourselves between the tech park and the venture center at the epicenter of the fintech industry, not only in the United States, but in the world. FIS reaches worldwide. The Independent Bankers Association where we've landed, and I think we're starting to see some of that synergy and momentum to really carry us. And I know that the biggest thing, and we always talk about this, is anytime we're recruiting, and we all love this city, and I think the greatest thing about this city is just getting people here. Because once they get here, they're just like, wow. Yeah, and I think we've seen it because time after time, from each one of these cohorts and these other folks that they've moved their companies here. They've made a conscious decision to move from Atlanta, New York, Birmingham, and choose Little Rock to base and start their companies. And that's seismic for what we're trying to do to generate those high income jobs for the people that live here. And they're recruiting. They're bringing a few people with them, but most of the folks they're hiring are local. And we're starting to build upon that tech. And I appreciate all of the board of directors. I see my friend Darren in the audience, who we grew up playing football together at Henderson Junior High and Central. And, I see a lot of folks that we've all grabbed arm in arm, and we appreciate what you guys do. And we'll make sure we continue to support you guys.
Thank you.
Director Richardson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the presentation. Just a couple of quick questions. I want to dovetail Dean's points about the sales tax. Have we been able to use our sales tax dollars as leverage to attract private sector investment? And if so, can we quantify that?
Well, no. When we went forward with phase one to purchase all those properties and renovate those two buildings, that was pretty much the extent of those funds. So we went out and borrowed $17.4 million. And then when we closed on the transaction, we took what was available then and put it in as capital on the closing of buying those properties. So all the money left to be allocated towards us will go down to pay that note off. So that's where all that money has gone.
So with the exception of the loan, we've only used those sales tax dollars for any progress that we've made so far?
Right. It's all gone back to in paying off the debt that we took out to stand this up.
Got you. Second question, I know at one point in time we had entertained the notion of requesting that the sales tax dollars be placed in a locally owned bank. Did we pass that resolution? Tom, do you remember? We didn't pass it? Or you don't remember?
I remember being talked about that. Yes, the bank group. There's 9 banks. But
right.
The lead bank is Centennial, so that's where that has all been.
So has that matched up to that desire? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can I address the private investment real quick?
Yes.
I think it's important, Director Richardson, because we didn't really talk about this in the presentation, but for example, the FIS FinTech Accelerator, FIS each year, this is now the 4th year, has invested $1 million each year into bringing those 10 companies in for that cohort. The governor in the state of Arkansas, on top of that, have invested $500,000 each year for the last 4 years for that specific program. The ICBA that Brent just mentioned, ICBA invested $1 million to bring those 10 companies to Little Rock, while the state of Arkansas, in this case, matched it with $250,000. So just this year alone, with the 2 fintech programs, $2.75 million of other dollars coming here. That's notwithstanding the private dollars invested in leasing the space, but that's a good example of this investment and what it's already generating from a return standpoint.
Well, thank you, Jay, for that clarity through a little bit more specificity in terms of how we're matching that desire. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Director Richardson. Brent, again, thank you so much for the work that you and your team are doing in Little Rock Technology Park and your entire board. We do appreciate this very significant investment that will continue to move us in the right direction in our city. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks again.
We have an addition to add to our agenda. Item M1 is for one-time funding for the First Tee of Central Arkansas. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion passes. Director Adcock?
Yes, Mr. James, Mr. Jones, rather.
Yes, ma'am.
Here this is again. Where are we on that study that we was having done on all the golf courses?
We expect the final of that study to be completed and given to the city by the middle of April. We have asked for a draft by the end of this week, which we hope to receive. And I would suggest that we begin meeting with First Tee and laying out the beginnings of an agreement and not wait until the study's complete.
Okay, how many more months do you think that we're going to be looking at this 40,000 without an agreement?
That I don't know.
Thank you.
Director Webb?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Could I ask that item 3 be held separately?
Yes, ma'am. Director Hines?
Just wanted to point out on the First Tee funding that we did pass in our resolution that we were supposed to have that agreement in place by the end of this month, but based on the delay in getting the study done, I'm hoping we have it done, if not at the end of April, by the end of May. Director Adcock, I mean, we've got to move on that study and how we're allocating those resources to help us in the Parks and Rec department. So you have my commitment. We're working as fast as we can. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Director Adcock?
Yes, on item number 1, I know that we have lots of people out in Pulaski County that's very interested in this. I would like to know who our planning department has sent notice to, or who this applicant has sent notice to.
Mr. Collins?
Jamie, when this went before the Planning Commission, there were several groups from out Arch Street Pike and out in that part of the county that came before the group and spoke. Can you tell me who we have asked for them to notify on this?
They were, in any appeal, they have to notify per our standard, which is that same radius. Now, since it is brought up as an appeal, everybody that was at that meeting that signed cards and spoke will be notified, you know, from this. I can get you that exact list, you know, that we're going to be sending out for in your
I would
Friday.
like to see it. Also, did we notify the Sheriff's Department? Because I know that they had lots of thoughts about this item being out in the county. And have we notified the Sheriff's Department that this is on our agenda?
I'll have to check on it for the board agenda. They were notified for the Planning Commission, and we did get a letter from them.
Okay, thank you.
We can now proceed with the review of the proposed agenda. Board members, are there any questions regarding items 1 through 4? Do you know Director Webb would like to separate out item 3? Any other questions from items 1 through 4? Seeing none, board members, are there any questions regarding items 5 and 6? I guess we will now add to that item 3, 5, and 6. Director Hendricks.
On number 6, do they dispense with the competitive bidding? Am I reading it wrong? Oh, thank you, sweetie, thank you. I'm concerned about number 6. They dispense with the requirement of competitive bidding. Am I reading that wrong?
No, ma'am, you're reading it correctly. James?
This is an agreement that we have with Motorola that has expired, and we have used, we've had this agreement in place for over 3 years. Now it's expired, and we need to extend it, and they're the only ones that can provide the product.
When you say we, who are you speaking about?
the city. And
Who
th-
are
th-
the
this is
city?
the 311 service, and more details. Ms. Foshi,
I don't know what city. Who are you talking about?
City of
The
Little Rock.
employee?
the city of Little Rock. This is for our 311 system
Okay, come on.
and the mobile app.
Mayor, city board members, this is the mobile app that citizens use to report potholes or missed garbage pickups. The system that supports that for scheduling of those activities from public works, from housing to planning, all of those different departments utilize it internally to handle citizen requests. So this originally was in the police department years ago. The division was broken out, and it's time to renew the service. It's a cloud-based service, so they're the only one that provides the service for that application. Motorola, that is.
When was it that the police department had this? What year?
Up until 2016, I believe. From 2007 to 2016.
Thank you.
It was originally funded with a grant in 2007, so.
Thank you, Director Hendricks. Thank you, Mr. Fauché. Are there any objections to adding items 10 and 11 to the group items? Well, we don't have 10 and 11. I'm sorry, we don't have 10 and 11. I apologize. Wrong notes. We'll now have a legislative update from Miss Emily Jordan Cox.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the board. In regards to the online sales tax, I'll start with that, the lead. Senate Bill 576 by Senator Hester is a relatively new bill that includes the online sales tax, and it also includes corporate income tax changes that the Legislative Tax Reform Task Force, which is a mouthful, recommended. And the third component of the bill is related to taxes for car washes, actually. And the bill has passed the Senate, and Senator Hester mentioned yesterday that he would be willing to amend it on the House side for the car wash issue that had arisen. And I did see an amendment has been filed dealing with car washes. That was filed this afternoon. So, and I understand that the House Revenue and Tax Committee will hear the bill on Thursday, and the members of the members of the committee, excuse me, who represent parts of Little Rock have shared with me that they support the bill. So that is what I know about the online sales tax bill. And then House Bill 1633 regarding witness intimidation has passed the House and is in the Senate Judiciary Committee. And House Bill 1410 is the implied warranty of habitability bill that we've discussed several times. And that was brought before the House Insurance and Commerce Committee a second time, and it failed to get out of the committee. And I understand that the bill sponsor does not intend to bring it back up again. House Bill 1402 by Representative Gonzalez limits special elections to basically 2 times a year, and that bill did not get enough votes to get out of committee a couple of weeks ago, but the bill sponsor could still bring that back at any time, and he is on that committee as the vice chair. House Bill 1493 by Representative Jett amends the historic rehabilitation income tax credit, and that is now an act. House Bill 1564 is the 911 legislation, and it was amended. It's been amended twice now, and now there's not a hard and fast limit of 77 PSAPs. The 911 board that's created under that bill has the authority by a 2/3 vote to go beyond the 77 PSAPs. Senate Bill 179 by Senator Johnson regarding reorganization of municipal government has not been run to date. It is not listed as deferred. House Bill 1875 by Representative Davis amends the law concerning city manager form of government, and that was filed recently. And I believe you all have received a copy of the bill, and he has not run it to date. Senate Bill 411 by Senator Stubblefield is to prohibit municipal sanctuary policies, and that bill has not been run either, and it was listed on deferred as on the most recent committee agenda. And Senate Bill 492, which allows for the establishment of temporary or permanent entertainment districts. Last time I was before you, it failed to get out of the Senate committee, but it has now gotten out of the Senate committee, and it has passed the full Senate, and it has been referred to the House Rules Committee. And those are the bills that I have on my list to report to you, and I'm happy to take any questions that you may have.
Director Pierce.
Two things. On my bill,
Yes, sir. Our bill.
is it a clean bill when it comes out?
Well, it has other components
No.
to it.
Does our component of the sales tax, is there anybody taking a bite out of that apple except, are we getting the full apple?
Yes.
Thank you. The second one is a bill that affects us that ought to be on our agenda, and that is the one about carrying guns into public places. It affects our new theater. It affects Verizon. It affects the Rep. It affects any football game to War Memorial Stadium. It affects any venue where we bring tourists into this town. And I would hope that this board asks you to work hard not to let that happen. It would ruin our ability to have venues here, entertain them in town. According to Gretchen, and I think I can probably quote her, or at least give you the gist of it, nobody's going to book an act at Verizon or in Robinson Center if you can carry a gun in there. And it is not going to work. And I would urge us to ask you to work hard against that bill. Is that okay?
Understood.
I think you heard.
I did. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Director Hendricks.
Thank you. I would like for you to tell us a little bit more about House Bill 1875 and how hard are you working, or are you allowed to participate or to speak, or are you just sitting there?
At this point, I have not taken any action, but I'd be happy to take direction from the board on that,
And tell
of
the
course.
public what House Bill 1875 is all about.
So it changes the powers and duties of the mayor in a city manager form of government, and on hiring and firing the city attorney and the city manager, the process changes for how that works. And I don't have all of the exact details memorized. Tom, can you chime in on this one, House Bill 1875 anymore?
Well, obviously, the provision dealing with firing the city attorney is off base and shouldn't even be considered. But other than that, the current situation is that the mayor that has adopted a form of government under the City Manager Enabling Act of 1989, which is us and what we did in 2007, has the authority to hire and fire the city attorney and the city manager. He requires a majority vote of the board to do so, and this adds a provision that it takes a 3/4 vote of the board to undo what the mayor has done. In all honesty, there's a little ambiguity there, because if it takes only a majority to affirm the action, why would it take 9 or 10 votes to undo the action that's just been affirmed? The other provision it does deal with specifically is the ability to create super districts. It now would refer to positions on the board as at large, by ward, or by district, and a district would be a combination of geographic areas less than the whole city, and it allows the city to undertake that process.
So at this point, where are we?
So I would take
That's an
direction from the
important
board,
bill.
and the bill has been filed, and it has been referred to the House, City, County, and Local Committee.
And who's presenting this bill? What legislator?
Representative Davis, Andy Davis,
He's doing this alone so far?
as far as I know.
Okay. Keep us abreast, because to me, this is an important piece of legislation.
Yes, ma'am.
Director Richardson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for your presentation. If I heard you correctly, you're saying Representative Gazaway is not going to bring 1410 back out?
That's my understanding. Technically, I think he could, but I've heard.
But he's probably not. I've heard the
I don't
same
think he
thing.
will. Right.
And this is the second time this has happened with that bill?
He has presented it twice this session.
So, and this may not be a question for you, this may be a question more for James or Victor. I know at some point in time we were looking at this for some possible inclusion or implementation in our new renter inspection program. Are we looking at this in terms of for any kind of guidance or additional information as we develop our new rental inspection program? Or ordinance, I'm sorry, rental inspection ordinance? Victor, I see you
Coming
ducking
back to
down
me,
back there.
Director Richardson, the outcome of the bill, were it to pass, would impact any rental inspection ordinance revisions that we have. If it is not brought up for a vote, that may open some issues for the city to consider, but that's really not clear because the law in Arkansas is so strongly against lessees in any form or fashion.
So either way, it would have some impact, but the clarity by not passing or coming out would be a little bit more cloudy.
Well, the argument would be that there's plenty of law out there that says that landlords can pretty much do what they want, and therefore cities couldn't do anything contrary to that.
Got you. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, James. Thank you, Victor.
Director Wright?
Yes, Emily, can you give me a little bit more information on, I believe it's House Bill 492, the Entertainment District? What does that actually say?
It is a local control. It gives a city board authority to establish those entertainment districts, and they can be temporary or permanent.
Okay, that's what I was hoping. Thank you.
Director Webb?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Emily, Senate Bill 620, can you tell me when that you expect that to be heard in committee, or has it?
Senate Bill 620 is the scholarship. It's capital. The title of it is Capital Scholarships. It's for Pulaski County students. And I know that it's on the Senate Education Committee agenda, and they meet tomorrow, but I don't know when it will be brought forward, but I could certainly find out, or do my best to find out.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, could I make a comment on that, about
Sure.
that bill?
Sure.
I attended a press conference about that yesterday that was primarily with legislators. There were a lot of Little Rock legislators there, but there were also legislators from around the state. Senator Elliott and Representative McCullough were the spokespeople at this particular event, and I didn't have time to ask Tom to write a resolution or anything to encourage us to oppose this bill, but it has a direct impact on the Little Rock School District. And while I know that we're not going to sit here and debate it, as I said, I don't have a resolution, I do have a letter that Director Richardson and I have signed that we will give to the governor and members of the Little Rock delegation. And if anybody would like to see it and sign it after the meeting, I would hope to get additional board members to sign it in opposition.
All right. Next week, we'll have our board and commission appointments. Also want to make everyone aware we'll have our State of the City address, which will be noon on Thursday, March the 28th at Horace Mann Middle School. and look forward to everyone to be there. Again, 12 noon, Horace Mann Middle School, Thursday, March 28th. And before we adjourn, Director Capuris.
Dixon Flake came up after they left, and Brent failed to offer and urge all of us to come to the demonstration tomorrow in North Little Rock at 6 p.m. on the FinTech presentation. So Dixon came up and said they omitted it. They want us to come. It's at 6 o'clock tomorrow. So if anybody's available, go. At the tech.
All right. Thank you all for your attendance, and we'll see everyone next week as the board convenes on April the 2nd. This meeting is adjourned.